Thank you for those kind words, Joe. Way to ramble, man. I know there are quite a few people who came here tonight on my behalf, but I want to assure you tonight, for me, is about all those who helped me along the way. First, I want to thank my family. I got to get them out of the way first. My parents, Maroon and Joe, who sacrificed so many weekends attending my sporting events, I don't even know where to start. I can remember my freshman year at Roman Catholic High School, and I played on 5 football teams. On Friday afternoon, I would have a freshman game at 3:30, Friday night a varsity game at 7, Saturday morning a little Quakers game at Franklin Field, Sunday a Frankfurt Boys Club game, and then Monday afternoon, the dreaded JV game. And never once do I ever remember them missing a game. They've always been my biggest supporters, and I truly appreciate everything you did. With that, my siblings, Mary Kate, Molly, and Pat, who were much younger than me, had no choice but to get thrown in the minivan and sit through all those games. I appreciate you guys always being there. Most importantly, I want to thank my wife, Heather, and my kids, Addison and Joey. Heather, as much as I appreciate you going to all those games at Roman and Lafayette, I am forever grateful that you are a great wife and a great mother to our kids. Addie and Joey, just like I talked about your grandparents earlier, our weekends are usually filled with going to your sporting games, and nothing gives me greater joy than to watch you and be your biggest fan. I want to thank Walt O'Donnell, who is here tonight. He was my Frankfurt Boys Club coach. At the ripe old age of 9, I was in the crosshairs of whether I was going to be a soccer player or a football player. He was the first football coach who saw something in me that I could be a special football player. Without his conviction that I should stick with football, I don't think I would be standing here. Thank you, Coach. To my Lafayette family, I want to thank my teammates. The quarterbacks, Marco Glavich, Brad Maurer, Mike O'Connor, and Pat Davis, who helped lead those great offenses. The fullbacks, Brendan Green, Dave Nelson, Darrell Damon, and Matt Jackson, who blocked their butts off and never got the appreciation as the guy who stand behind them. Thank you for your unselfishness and putting your bodies on the line every day. My fellow running backs, Scott Warden, John Hurt, Justin Lawver, Alfred Belton, James Summers, and Brandon McLeod. Regardless of who got the carries or the glory, we always supported each other. Whoop, my bad. The tight ends, Tim Walsh, Stu Kupfer, Chad Walker, John Stubitz, and Brandon Hall. The story I'm about to tell probably falls into the category of too much information, but what the hell, it's Lafayette Lehigh Week, I'm going to share it. I remember we beat Lehigh 14-7 in 2002, and the goalpost came down. Tim Walsh, who is here, scored the first TD, and I scored the second. We had media responsibilities after the game, so we didn't get back to the locker room until late. The two of us were the only ones there, both sitting on a stool in the shower, butt naked, and couldn't move. We both kept saying, we got to get back to campus. The parties are probably going off the hook right now. But every time we tried to get up, one or both of us would start cramping up and have to sit back down. As I wrote this, I laughed, but the more I thought of it, it was just two dudes who gave everything they had. Ended a 7-year winless drought against Lehigh, but more importantly, that game changed the tide of our program for years to come. The wide receivers, John Wyrock, Jeremy Burks, Joel Caesar, Tom Hall, Brandon Stanford, Joe Ort. If you were on those teams and played receiver and you couldn't block, it didn't matter. You had to block or you weren't going to play. Those guys were always blocking their butts off downfield. And finally, my favorite group of all, the offensive line. Chris Royal, Kevin Moss, Joe Ungrady, Steve Bono, Mike St. Germain, Bob Zuhaney, Bob Strobel, Drew Buechner, Kurt Wilson, Mike Luandos, Joe Miner, Ryan Nace, Jesse Padilla, Phil Kolarczyk. Without you, I am not standing here. Thank you. I want to thank Coach Devaney, who personally recruited me. Coach Devaney was the only coach during the recruiting process that told me he would give me a shot at running back, when so many others told me I was a better fit for defense. On top of that, he said the best players will play. If you're good enough to play as a freshman, you will play. He kept to his word, and both of those opportunities came true as a freshman. To our offensive coordinator, Coach Faragelli, to Coach Hefner, thank you for your offenses. You put me in a position to succeed. Most importantly, I want to thank Coach Troxel. I know now he's the big honcho. He will be leading our Leopards to victory tomorrow. But once upon a time, he was my running backs coach my 4 years here and had the smallest office on the football floor. In that office, I learned I not only had a great coach, but had a great friend, and a friend for life. To this day, Trox always calls and checks on me and asks how the family is doing. I love you, Coach, and thank you for always being there. As I round out these lists of thank yous, I want to recognize the Berger, Fisher, Kirby families for their countless support to our football team. Our training staff, Matt Daly, Steph, Dawn, and countless other training staff for keeping me healthy. Phil LaBella and Scott Morris, who handled a ton of media logistics behind the scenes. John Leone, who was there on my college visit and walked my parents and I around. John, along with Gary Laubach and our MC, Dan Mowdy, did a great job with the Lafayette broadcast and always had positive things to say about me. I truly appreciate you all, and thank you.